I have hands. Hands, 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 the hands, the hands. So, I know that most of my audience is male, so this is quite the sausage party. And you know what else? I know that men love something. Holes. They love holes. They like putting things in holes. It's like they're obsessed with them. And that brings up today's subject, is a bunch of things with holes in them. Oh, that should make you guys all very happy, right? All right. So anyway, what I have here are 3 devices that all have something in common. They have holes. They have SFP cages, as you can see. SFP cages. Can I do this? Can I do this? Am I cool enough to do this? There we go. They have their SFP cages. There we go. And they have Ethernet ports. Now, 2 of these things can run on PoE. I'll show you what I mean. I have, just so happens, I have a cable going to my PoE switch right here. What's that? Dun, da, 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 there's a power light. How cool is that, by George? All right. Now, what about this one? Does this one do that too? I actually want to do a bunch of testing on this one because this one's actually kind of fascinating. I want to see if I can get passive out. I'm not sure if I can, but it'd be kind of a cool little media converter. So all 3 of these, none of these 3 devices have management ability. They are very dumb devices. So far as I know, I could be a little bit wrong about this one. But this one here, by the way, if I connect PoE in, we get nothing. So this guy here is good for anywhere from 16 up to 57 volts. All right, so now let's describe the 3 of these guys and where we would use them. All right, one of the biggest things is you guys might actually be, wisps turning fisps, which means that you might, somebody's going to call me out for us. So I'm just going to, here, take a look at that. There you go. So anyway, you might be a wisp turn into a fisp, and you might have a house set up. Let's do this. Whiteboard. I like my whiteboards. Let's draw a nice little house. I like to draw a little house. Okay, with some brown bricks. Here we go. Here we go. So we've got a house here. And then we, there we go. Yeah, we'll put a little chimney here, right? Because, there we go. All right, so we've got a house here, okay? Now, yes, I'm aware that there's a reflection here. Let me see if I can do something about that. No, I can't, because I'm stupid. All right, so we've got, I'm going to use blue for the wisp gear. So you've got a surge suppressor on the side of your house here, or something, right? You got a hole, because remember, dudes like holes, right? And I'm just going to arbitrarily put a pole here. Although, you know my thing, I hate putting anything on roofs, okay? And now let's draw a nice Tirana. No, I'm just kidding. Let's just draw a radio here, a generic radio, okay? So, where's my... This is a nice dark brown. I like this. Okay, so we're just going to draw a generic radio like this, okay? And now we've got our cable coming down. And either it's going to go into a surge suppressor like this and go into the house, where it will go to a PoE, or it's just going to go straight into the house through there. Now, this is where these guys come in here. So especially something like this. So since this guy will run on 16 to, it'll run on 16 to, 57 volts. You can just pop this outside, remove the lightning arrestor, stick this on the side of the house through your Ubiquiti GPON transceiver in there, or you know what? Pretty much every company, Adtran, Nokia, Ericsson, ZTE, Ubiquiti, everybody has an actual transceiver. Here, let me go over here for a second. Go over here. I'm going to dig in my pile of detritus on my desk. Look, there's one right there. Okay, that's a Nokia. So check this out. This is a Nokia GPON transceiver. This is a GPON ONT. This is all that it is. This whole thing right here is an ONT. So you can take your ONT transceiver and stick it into your little SFP like that. Put this on the side of your house, and you can plug your fiber optics lead into here. And then you've got a nice little coil here to hold it. And then you simply take the cable here that was supposed to go up to the radio and delete it. And now it goes to here, and I'm just going to use red to represent fiber. Because so many of you guys are afraid of fiber because it's overbuilding you, and I don't blame you. All right, so now this guy goes on the side of the house here, and instead of the wire going up to the radio, radio's gone, fiber comes into here, plugs into your ONT transceiver, and then you can use the DC in Ethernet to go back into the house. You can simply bring the cable out, plug it into this device here. You can do that with all three of these guys. You could actually take this and use it in the house. Yeah, this thing will take 24 volts passive or at 802.3 AF. It's diverse. So you can even just run the fiber straight into the house or into a, I can't remember the company that makes them, but there's a company that advertised on Wisp Talk that makes, and I'd love to get my hands on one of these boxes, but they make a little box, like so, where you can actually either put a loco, the UFiber loco inside of it, and then your Ethernet cable comes outside from the house, goes into here, and your fiber cable goes into here. You know, it gives you a lot of options. This guy is just a media converter, so you can plug whatever you want into it. All three of these are media converters, and basically, this is just one scenario that you could potentially use it for, okay? I'm going to plug this guy back in here because I don't want to dirty this up. So these guys here, all three of them have different purposes, even though they are all fiber transceivers. Oh, actually, I'll use this again. So another purpose for one like this, and this is the Gen 2. Do not buy the Gen 1. Do not buy the Gen 1. If you're going to buy this thing, do not buy the Gen 1. Just make sure that it says Gen 2 on it. Otherwise, send it back because it will ruin your day in so many ways. Let me get rid of this now. Okay, so as you know, there's lots of companies making cost-effective, affordable fiber optics transceivers, okay, to go up towers and whatnot, right? So check this out now. So let's say that, where's my rag? I've got a rag around here. Oh, there it is. Let's wipe this off and start again. Okay. So when we're talking about companies like Nokia or Tirana or any of the other companies that do professional telecom equipment, there's usually a thing that they have in common. The radio, actually, this is where I should, hold on, let me run the door. I've used this radio before, and it's not the greatest example, but usually you'll have a DC in, and then you'll have an SFP transceiver on your radio. Most commercial grade, or I should say telecom grade radios have that. So now, let's say we've got a tower here. I'm going to draw the straightest lines I can, because I have a hard time, you know, doing straight things. All right, so we got our tower here, okay? We got our little standoff, our pinwheel up at the top here. Okay. Now, let's say you're up more than, let's see here. Let's say that you're just arbitrarily up higher than 400 feet. Right? So you're way higher than PoE. PoE is a no-go, right? So now what you could do is you can actually stick this up at the top of the tower, run 12 AWG, or actually, for a radio like this, 18 AWG would work if you're using a dedicated feed. You can put a 1 gig transceiver in here. I think this one's only 1 gig. I'm pretty sure it's only 1 gig, but you guys can check that for yourselves. You have Google. And then you just simply take your cable out here that goes into the radio. So if you've got a radio like an AirFiber 5X HD or something like that, right? You could just simply convert it into a fiber optic capable radio by using a product like this. This guy would go up on the tower, your fiber would come into it, your DC lead would come into it, and then you can simply have a Cat 7 jumper or Cat 6 jumper, Cat 5 come out of here, exit, and go into the radio. Okay? So then that allows you to simply set up fiber and power to power that radio, even if the radio only has a single RJ45 port on it for both power and data. So that's specifically what this one's capable of doing, right? And now the cool thing about this guy is you can also give it PoE in, right? So another cool thing what you can do is, let's say you've already ran some Cat 5 cable to the end of a field, to a fence line, right? And your count was off, and you're actually at like 350 feet for whatever reason, right? Well, here's what you can potentially do. Ooh, that looks bad. here's what you could potentially do. You could hook up something like this for power, and then just run fiber from the house over to here to plug it in, and connect the radio to there. So now you're still using the Cat 5 for power. And remember, whatever you put into this, you're going to get out. It doesn't do any voltage conversion. Okay, that's all that there is to it. So that's what this guy can be used for. Theoretically, this guy can too. Except this is not outdoor rated, and it doesn't have any kind of conformal code or anything. This one here, you can see, it's designed to go on a pole or mount on the side of the house. You actually have grounding here, right there. So you can just, it's got a Phoenix connector. That's what these little green connectors are called, a Phoenix connector, okay? So you can pop out the Phoenix connector, and notice that the polarity is right there. That's nice. Put your ground lead on there, and then plug it back in, right? And so this can go on the outside. I've actually seen some guys who have actually taken this off and then drilled a hole straight through it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that because you want the strain relief for the fiber optics. But this is a multi-purpose device. So remember, this doesn't necessarily have to be GPON. You could just use this as a media converter. Let's say that you've got a set of radios going between two buildings, right? Here's another use for this thing. All three of these guys can perform this function, this application. They can suit this application. All right, so here we've got a, say we've got a house, right? There's a door. Okay, so let's say that we've got a radio here, and then let's say way off in the distance, I'm going to draw it smaller, because remember, it's not smaller, it's really far away, okay? Okay, so now, you've got another radio right here, itty-bitty little radio, right? And we've got our connection to here. So let's say that this is just a shitty old set of like Prism 5 locos or something like that, right? Or whatever, right? Well, instead, you could simply take any one of these media converters. Remember, these ones would go inside the house. This one can go outside the house, right? They all have their benefits and their drawbacks, okay? And so now you could just simply get a pre-terminated piece of fiber cable, run it across here, buy a $30 set of transceivers, put them into one of these devices, and now you can connect these two outbuildings with something as simple as this, right? And by the way, notice I left a screw in there because, you know, I'm one of these psychos that doesn't like to misplace screws. Okay, so look at that. This is a very tidy little package. You could very easily sneak this into somebody's office. Like, you know what? It almost looks like you could put it outside, but don't take... No, never mind. I was just thinking out loud. Never mind. This is definitely not, like, there's a gap there. I was thinking because of the way that it assembled that it might be. No, it's not. This is totally an indoor product. But, yeah, you could stick this in somebody's office even, or like, there's a million purposes for a media converter. You can come up with them very easily, right? What more do I say? So this is PoE. This is DC. And actually, I think you can get DC out from this as well. So this could be really handy kind of as an adapter to give you gigabit capability to power a device like a router or, you know, an access point or something for whatever weird reasons you have. And yeah, I'm not sure, but I think that you can also use this for power out, but don't quote me on that. A lot of these things can work in multiple ways, okay? So, yeah, look this one up on Google for yourselves and look up all the specs, look up the data sheet, the manual, and see what it's capable of. If you guys want, I might do more of a video on this one specifically. I'm going to tear this one down in a minute anyway. This guy here, it's kind of handy. It's got a nice, pretty little holder. Look at that. So you can, like, put some screws in this in somebody's basement and stick this on here and use it to connect two buildings. Again, these are unmanaged devices. They are very simple, dumb devices, okay? But you don't really need anything fancy, right? So you've got that, you got a buddy who's a farmer or a customer who's a farmer and he wants to run fiber between buildings. And you're like, oh, crap, I don't want to have to change the switches that are there, you know, or think of 1,000 different reasons why it's, you know, going to be difficult to just change the equipment. You could just simply throw a set of these guys in the building, run the fiber optics up into it, and this would be perfectly fine in a dusty, dirty environment. I wouldn't fully encourage that, only because there is a lot of, there are a lot of places where insects and whatnot can get into this and, you know, reduce its meantime failure. But you know what? For the most part, this guy will tuck in anywhere, and it's good. Both of these guys, all three of them, have diversity in how you can power them. This one has to be powered by passive. This one can be powered by, well, all three of them can do passive. Let's put it this way. But only two of them can do active 802.3 AF, okay? This one is passive only. So I just figured I'd point this out to you guys. I mean, like, these things can be handy for so many different applications. I mean, like, what if you're doing security cameras across a property, right? And you don't want to spend a ton of money on switches and stuff, right? Well, you know, you can use something like this as well to feed a small switch, you know? Actually, 1 second, and I'll grab something. I don't like this product at all. I am not a fan of this product at all, but I'm going to use it as an example, because this guy is only 24 volts. Which is stupid, because even Ubiquiti's cameras now are mostly 802.3 AFAT. But there's all sorts of different outdoor switches that you can get. You can see I taped a full bridge rectifier right there, because that goes, where does that go again? Oh, it goes right there. And then you can put a terminal block right there to be able to tie this in so you can actually feed it power directly. And then there's, of course, a capacitor has to go here as well. Or you can just cheap out and just run 24 volts, positive and negative right to there, but whatever. So anyway, the point that I'm getting at is products like this can fill a lot of needs. They can be very, very handy for a lot of different applications. And an example with this, I really want to just say, pretend this isn't 24 volts. Let's just call this an outdoor switch that was already in place. This has been in place for years. The radio environment's getting noisy. It's just shitty. You know, the client doesn't want to spend a fortune on 60 gig gear. You could take something like this and use the PoE out from it, go into here to power it, and then you can put your SFP transceiver in there and run that transceiver to a piece of fiber cable and go back to another building. Okay? So there's a lot of functionality here. There's a lot of different options, a lot of different ways that you can use these guys. Junk. Do not use these, especially if you're a WISP. These are for home networks, okay? So, yeah, I don't really think there's much more I can say about this. Maybe the last thing I'll do, just to kind of fill out a little bit of time here. And, you know what? I mean, like, how long have I been recording for? 17 minutes? Let's fill the last 3 minutes with something like this. Let's do a quick teardown and just see what it actually looks like, okay? Because there really is nothing to this. And I'd rather not just do a whole dedicated video just to this little guy here. What's the comparison? I think that they're using exactly the same shell, by the way. Let's take a look here, right? Even the holes are in the same place. Let's see. Well, good on Ubiquiti for doing some recycling, because these guys are like the worst when it comes to recycling. That's cool. They're actually recycling the housing from this and just using a different board inside of it. So that's really kind of handy. All right, here we go. Now these guys here, you got to kind of pop them. Where is... Oh, my blades are over at the other side of the room, so I'll just use this razor blade here. The trick is that these guys also act as a locking pin. So you just have to kind of get under them without, you know, ripping your flesh off. So, there we go. Let's pop that in there like that. Look at that. All right, so let's see what we got in here. Ah, that's nice. So because these are designed to go up a tower, they've got GDTs in them, gas discharge tubes. Not TVS diodes, gas discharge tubes. There's one tube here on the DC port, and then both of the Ethernet ports have GDTs in them as well. Let's see here. You got your standard transformer. It's literally just a dumb media converter. That's all that this is. But look at all the protection that they built into this. They actually really did go the extra mile to put a lot of protection into this. There's your full bridge rectifier right there. It looks like it's got a place for two of them. And it's got multiple LEDs in here as well. So really there's not much to these things. it really is a simple device. And the cost on them isn't bad. I think they're like $50 Canadian, like $30 US or something like that, but I don't know. So, I mean, yeah, there you go. There are some media converters. There's some examples of different purposes. Here's another purpose. If you guys are playing with these Magic SFPs like I am, these are kind of neat. You could use something like this inside of a building. Say that you've got, I'm going to put this aside and put it back together after. Let's say that you're doing a apartment complex, right? And you cannot run any cable in there, and there's just coax, preferably, hopefully, higher-end coax. You could take something like this, and let's see if this will fit. Just pop this in here like this. She is a tight one. Come on, you can do it. Ooh, it's good that I'm actually testing this out, because, yeah, that is pretty tight. Let's see. Where is... Okay, the socket is down. Look at that. This does not want to go in there. 3 fingers are dangerous. All right, so you've got something like this. You could actually hook up coax to that. Let's see if this actually goes on. Yeah, but you know what you'd end up doing, though? And that's right tight to the corner. So you'd end up actually having to kind of drill a hole right there. But you could put these in a hotel or an apartment complex, and you can use these to feed switches on different floors, or you can use these to feed apartments and stick your Magic SFP transceiver in there. Now, something which I'm going to point out right now, because I just noticed this. Oh, the doom. You got to get a screwdriver in there to pop out the transceiver, which could be a good security measure. This guy here. Look at that. That actually looks kind of nice. So you can use your Magic SFPs with these guys here. And yes, these should work. I'm not going to promise you anything, but I wouldn't doubt that they'll work on here, because Ubiquiti's kind of like, you know, that neighborhood kid who just, you know, doesn't say no. And usually works with stuff. And that actually looks quite handsome like this. That's a nice fitting. So you could run your coax in here. You can put a DC connector on there. Just take a power cord, because this will work on 16 volts. So you could take like a 24-volt power cord, cut the end, and just stick that in here, positive, negative. And then you can use this as a media converter specifically for Mocha. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of options. And, I mean, automatically, I know that somebody's about to say, yeah, but doing it that way will cost a lot more money than using those Mocha adapters that you can buy on Amazon. And, like, yeah, probably. But I'm also just trying to think of potential ways that you might be able to use these specific products, because there are a lot of different things that you could use these for. The most simplest thing is that they are literally just a media converter that you can put any kind of SFP device into. So it's kind of a handy little device for many different purposes. And the most common one, like I said, is if you've got a site and you're converting everything on the tower to fiber. You can use this to take your non-fiber radios, and this gives you your power, it gives you your fiber, and it gives you your combined out, your PoE and data. So, there you go. I hope this helps some of you guys. This is also especially handy if I hate up tower switches personally. I'd rather home run everything down to the base of the tower, because if a switch goes on a tower, that's a tower climb. If a single radio goes offline, it's still a tower climb, but if you got resiliency at your site, it's something which can wait, rather than having to climb in the middle of a storm or in bad weather, or just, you know, it's too cold or whatever. So, there you go. I've covered all 3 products, and there's lots of other stuff out there. I mean, like companies like StarTech also make stuff like this. There's tons of awesome products out there for this sort of application. So I just figured I'd show you guys some of this stuff, okay? So there you go. What did I do with that transceiver, that GPON transceiver? I actually have that thing sitting here because I'm going to be able to put it into my 1009 soon and actually run my home internet directly off of the fiber rather than having to go through the NID that they provided to me. So there you go. I hope that video was insightful. I hope that you guys appreciated it and or enjoyed it. And yeah, have a great night, guys. Here, I'm going to flash my tattoo again because, oh my god, I love flashing and showing off my tattoo. I do love this tattoo, but really, whatever. If you're a nerd, start going to the gym. You can get the tattoos and live life because it's bloody short and you never know when your last day might come. So there's some advice to you guys, okay? And don't stress, because stressing never fixes a situation. It just doesn't. Okay. Anyway, bye guys. I'm going to drink my orange juice and prep this video and hopefully upload it tonight. Anyway, catch you later, guys. Ciao. Bye.